Doomy the Dark Ages soundtrack is complicated. What? No, it's a great soundtrack, Sarm. What do you mean? Well, when I first heard it, I didn't care for it. I was actually a little critical of it. A lot of you guys know I'm a metalhead. I write songs in a metal band, Lost in Us. Check us out on Spotify and every other streaming platform. So the soundtrack should have been my thing, or that's what I'm told at least, but it actually wasn't. I still played the game, of course, because it's Doom the Shark Ages, and through playing it, I did find tracks that I actually did like. There are definitely good tracks here. Although I found they were fewer in frequency than the previous soundtracks. And I'm really not here as a critic. I actually sort of dislike those videos because I feel like they try to objectively say why a song is bad. I'm not really here to do that. I think people can enjoy objectively bad music. Why am I holding a mouse? You'll never know. But that doesn't mean that person is wrong or anything, right? Music is subjective. I feel like it's a pretty easy concept for people to understand. Instead, I'm here to explore why there is a difference between the previous soundtracks and this one, and the different approach that the composers took for their respective project. A lot of people dig this soundtrack, and there seems to be a minority that doesn't like it as much. I guess I'm included in there. And it leaves me a bit confused because online, apparently, if you don't like Doom the Dark Sages soundtrack, you are a close-minded Mick Gordon simp, and your opinion is disregarded, which I think there are very valid reasons why you wouldn't like this soundtrack, but I guess that's just internet discourse at this point, right? I want to make one thing clear. I watched an interview with the Finishing Move guys, the composers of this soundtrack. The way they talk about music, their creative process, their influences, these guys are very competent and capable composers. It's hard to describe, but when you do something for so long, you kind of have a sixth sense where you can tell how good other people are just by talking. The way someone talks about their craft is actually very telling. But yeah, no disrespect to the composers at all. I'm going to introduce a concept which I call rhythmical momentum. I don't know any music theory, so maybe there is a word or a term for this. I don't know it. But this is the defining aspect for me that separates the soundtrack for Doom the Dark Ages from the previous work by Mick Gordon. I actually wasn't really a fan of Doom Eternal's soundtrack when I first heard it. What changed for me is when I played the game, then I understood the music of Doom. My opinion basically did a 180-degree turn, and I started to really appreciate the composition of the tracks. Doom Eternal is a fast-paced game, but the tracks themselves are sort of mid-tempo, but they have a great sense of rhythm to them. Now with the Dark Ages, I had suspected this would kind of be the case as well, so when I played the game, I'm sure I'd like more tracks from it, which I did. But then I came to the realization that the Dark Ages has what I call a lack of rhythmical momentum or interesting rhythmical ideas. Where I stand now, I actually think the Dark Phases nailed the atmospheric element. I think they might have done a better job in that aspect than even Doom Inertial's soundtrack. Now, let's take this track, for example, Infernal Chasm. This is a fan favorite. I'm sure this is on everyone's top 5 list for tracks from this game. And that's fine. Again, I'm not here to tell you that you're not supposed to like this track or that you shouldn't or that you're wrong, but this is what I hear when I listen to it. Okay, pretty standard so far, right? We do have that double bass pattern, which again, on its own, not an issue. We've just started the song, so it sounds fine, it sounds good. Then we calm down a bit, right? It's just a little transition period. There's that little, I don't even know what that instrument is. That might be a guitar. Could also be a synth, but it sounds really cool, like I said. A lot of the ambient stuff I actually really dig. So again, now we're actually doing a pretty cool rhythm on the guitars, but the drums still have that sort of kick on one, snare on two going on. And the guitar tone also, it sounds just like oddly sort of squishy. I want to hear that kick drum actually hitting when the guitars chug as well, just to like reinforce it more and emphasize it more. Again, it's not a problem what they're doing here. It still works, but they don't really ever once change this section at all. Like, the section repeats, I think, 3 times in the song. It's never really changed from a rhythm perspective. And again, to me, just feels like such a missed opportunity. You could have done more, even if you put the double bass section in this part after one repetition or something. That would have been super cool, I think. And it would have given that kind of momentum we're looking for. So again, we have this sort of new riff. It's really just a variation of the opening riff. But again, now it's that double bass pattern. Again, quite a ways into this. And we've literally, in this point, I've only heard 2 different drum patterns. Not much variance in that aspect. The main thing that I don't appreciate about this soundtrack is it seemingly just bounces back and forth between 2 rhythmic patterns on the drums. Now, I'm being a bit hyperbolic. Of course, there's more than 2, but it seems these 2 are really central to the backbone of this soundtrack. And so we have the basic kick on 1, snare on 2, we'll call it. And then we have the classic double bass. So a lot of modern metal music has quite a bit going on in the rhythm department, and double bass is viewed as being really intense, and it absolutely is, but in terms of rhythm, it's a bit static. It's almost like a wall of sound or a wall of rhythm than a more complex rhythm that has spaces and room to breathe and, you know, a feeling of shifting or something. A lot of times when I listen to songs now that have double bass is not a section of intensity for me, actually a section of rest. Because the rest of the song has so much rhythmical variance and they're doing all these things and it keeps me on my toes, the double bass is actually something I can hook onto and ground myself in the song with. And again, I don't have a problem with double bass, that's fine. My band uses it too. It's all contextual, it's all how you use it. It is a balance of rhythmic tension or rhythmical momentum. This is also why I believe breakdowns work in metal, because usually a breakdown is quite a contrast from the rest of the song. Obviously there's exceptions and they still work, but generally breakdowns are a different part that add some more spice to your entire song. Boom Eternal's soundtrack balanced this very well. It has double bass. It has the kick on 1, snare on 2 pattern. It absolutely has those. But it's contrasted so much by other rhythmical patterns. It has more rhythmical variance that when it does use double bass and the simple kick on 1, snare on 2 pattern, it actually hits way harder. Let's take the track The Only Thing They Fear Is You, and let's change the drums and actually see what happens. We'll do one with the original drums and the kick on 1, snare on 2 pattern. So one is clearly better than the rest. What makes this track work is that at the end, it does have that simple rhythm going, right? So there's about 4 minutes of this more, rhythmically intense, spiced up stuff. And then we get a simple pattern at the end, and it smacks you right in the face. It's the variance, it's the context, it's everything that complements that makes it work. See, even if we put the simple pattern first and then the original pattern after, you see how it gives it more of a sense of momentum, and it keeps the rhythm from being static. If you have too much of either, the overall rhythmical momentum is just static. Now, like I said, the Door Gauges does do this too, it's just to a much lesser extent. And when they do it, they end up creating what is one of my favorite tracks. Let's take What Lies Below. So this track slaps. Right off the bat, we have an interesting drum pattern that I really feel complements the main riff well. There's some interplay between the drums and the guitars. It's like they're talking to each other. There's a sense of momentum. You can feel the push and the pull of the rhythm. In this case, the main riff is actually so good, it doesn't suffer as much if we change the drums. So again, let's change the drums and see what happens. It's definitely noticeable, but I don't think it's as much of an effect as The Only Thing They Fear Is You. Even combining the two patterns adds a very cool layer of rhythmical variance. It's interesting to the ear to hear that kind of stuff. And I feel like it was that stuff that I just missed a little too much in the Dark Ages soundtrack. It wouldn't be fun if an entire song was just grounded, or an entire song was doing so much crazy spiced up stuff that you just had no place to ground. It's a balancing act between the two places. I want to end with something I've said a bit already, but no technique is bad on its own, right? Everything is contextual, everything. I like ice cream. If I ate ice cream every day, I probably wouldn't like it. I'd probably throw up. I just realized I turned my mic around somehow halfway. I'm not here as a critic. I'm here to explore the different approaches to the soundtrack. And at the end of the day, you know, it's just an opinion of one dude. Before we leave, I do have a Discord. It's completely free. It'll be in the description and the pinned comment. So go ahead and join that. I've also started a Patreon where I'm doing video lessons for all my guitar covers, starting now. And there's also a lot of other benefits there. So make sure to check that out. Thanks for watching.